So my name is Tom Spate. I produce and chair these calls. And the point of these calls is to, every Friday morning between 9:30 and 10:30, find 2 or 3 people that are doing interesting things across the county and a chance to discuss what they're doing, ask questions, or just listen. And hopefully it's a nice way to kickstart the weekend. Hello, Monique. Hello, Amy. Hello, Jenny. People that are joining just now. And we've done these every Friday morning since February 2020. So this is about call number 300. And it's a chance to get right around the county and find out, as I said, the gossip. We always record these calls. So they go up on our YouTube channel, usually on the Monday or possibly the Tuesday the following the week, if you want to catch up with them, if you can't make them live. And I said, I also take August off to go and put my feet up and go and talk to my sweet peas. So this is the last one until September the 4th. So we're back again on September 4th. And I'm already lining up some great guests for September as well. Darren, do you want to just quickly introduce yourself?
Well, I don't know what to say, really. I'm here because I was talking to Emma Dockeray from Soundwave, and I was talking about local directories, which I've already slightly talked to you about online. On an email, Tom.
Yeah.
And it's just I was putting together the local directory because it's so hard for new bands kind of starting out, knowing where to start from, where to go, where you can play, what promoters are, all that kind of thing. And I was talking to them.
So we're going to see whether we can go somewhere with that. And
so
we'll chat next week.
I'm in a band, basically.
Yeah, great. All right, it was great to have you with us. And I'm not going to get everyone to introduce themselves, but there's all sorts of people here from all sorts of walks of life, all sorts of corners of the county, right across Cumbria. Right, so this morning, great to have you with us, Dan. This morning, we are going to hear from Trisha Mennell, who runs Craftsmen at the Priory at Lanercost, that beautiful place just northeast of Carlisle. If you've not been there, beautiful old Priory with a lovely old village hall called the Dacre Hall as well. And Trisha's going to tell us what's going on there in August. We're going to hear from Josh Payne, who works at Muncaster. Josh had some good news recently with some Arts Council funding, and a Fringe Festival is going to take place at Muncaster in the forthcoming weeks, and Josh needs people to come and take part in that Fringe Festival. We're going to hear from Hannah Kessler, who's there at Rosehill, just outside Whitehaven. Stuff going on at Rosehill, including helping to organise the Whitehaven Weekender, which is taking place in August. So Hannah's going to tell us about that. And then Michael Barry's going to join us from Cumberland Council at about 10 o'clock. And we'll chat to him about the Sands reopening, as you've probably read about, the Sand Centre, which was shut for about 18 months or so because of the wrong type of concrete in the roof. And also the Tour de France is coming to Cumberland next year. And Carlisle and Keswick in particular are very excited about that. And we're going to find out what creative opportunities are already being cooked up around the Tour de France coming through next year. So we'll have a think about that too. Cumbria's third biggest town has been created this weekend. What am I talking about? Kendal Calling's on this weekend. It's the third biggest town in Cumbria when it comes about. It's about 30,000 people or something ridiculous like that. I don't know whether anyone here has been to Kendal Calling. I went a couple of years ago, and it's great fun, and it's massive, and it's a huge cultural event. And they're also, the people that run Kendal Calling, called, I think, In the Fields, Tor is the person that liaises with CACN, very, very open to creatives in Cumbria, and there's various things going on this year and has done in the past that we've sort of had a bit of a stake in as well. So just, good organisation, good people. Kendal Calling, really important cultural event taking place in Cumbria at the moment. And everyone's going to see Odyssey. Anyone seen Odyssey? Is it any good?
No.
So those that have seen it, just shout out marks out of 10. Iona.
4.
4?
8. No, 7.5.
7.5. Helen?
7.
7. Jenny?
8 or 9.
8 or 9.
But I'm looking at it from a film perspective.
As opposed to?
Just an ordinary spectator. I analyse everything to death when I'm looking at film now.
Okay. Anyone else seen Odyssey?
Yeah, I've seen it.
What do you reckon?
I thought it was brilliant. I thought 10 out of 10 for me. I thought it was fantastic.
It's a big 1-0 from Dan. Stephanie, have you seen it?
Yeah, I thought it was great.
Okay.
But
I don't really remember the source material that closely, so
All right. Well, it's getting quite a good thumbs up then from.
I'd give it about an 8.5.
8.5. Neil, being quite precise. Okay. Well, people like it. You might want to go and see it sometime. I've not seen it yet.
Can I say, I'm not a great fan of gratuitous violence, and there is a lot of violence in this film, but after the first 10 minutes, you cease to notice.
Okay. Well, because there's so much.
Yeah, there's a lot of heads and limbs and things being cut off. So
Sounds like my sort of film.
War and swords and killing, so it's not surprising. But
okay,
small children definitely not.
I have a counter. It's got the same energy as like a Marvel film, and I don't know. I'm not into those, so.
Have you seen it then, Hannah?
I couldn't get through it.
Right. Okay. So you walked out.
Yeah.
Good. So good to have a counter. We like a counter perspective on something that everybody else enjoys. Right. I don't know what the link is there from that to Lanercost Priory. I can't think of one. But anyway, we're going to go to Lanercost Priory now. And Trisha Mennell helps run and lead Craftsmen at the Priory, which is an exhibition that takes place over a month. It's in its sort of 44th year, Trisha?
We think it's its 48th year. We're not entirely
48th
sure.
year.
We had a cake several years ago for our 40th, but none of us can remember how long ago we had the cake, so we're not quite sure. But it's around 48, which is pretty good going. Not the
all right. Well, tell us what it is first of all. I think Iona's going to pull up the website. So tell us what it is, why you do it, and then perhaps we'll look at some of the art involved as well.
Okay. Well, why I do it, I question that every morning. Why I do it this time of year, it gets crazy. It's a lovely exhibition. It's mainly all artists from Cumbria and part of the north of Scotland, northwest of Scotland, southwest of Scotland even. We used to be just Cumbrian artists, but we realised actually there's a much bigger pool elsewhere. So we pull in people from wherever, really. We just see work we like and try and bring it in. And it's a beautiful exhibition. It's if anybody's been to the Dacre Hall, they'll know that it's a lovely old medieval, high-roofed, wooden, sort of there's wood everywhere, beautiful floor, and a lovely feel to it. And we stuff it full of we like to think really good quality art and things.
And the picture we're actually looking at the moment is the Priory. So it's to the right-hand side of the Priory, isn't it?
Yes, it's to the right of the Priory. That's the actual Priory. I think on the I'm not quite sure whether there's a picture of the actual internal part of it on this website. I don't do the website. Thank goodness. But yeah, we usually, there are a core group of us, about 6 of us, and we invite 9 other main exhibitors each year to fill the space. And then we have a small area which we rather grandly call the shop, which is actually just the stage at the end of the building. And on that we exhibit work from a small amount of work from previous exhibitors. So, last years before. So we have a really good variety, like 20 people or so exhibiting work in there. And we have a gallery area for the wall hanging artists. I'm one of them as a photographer. And yeah, it's just really nice. It has a good feel to it. It doesn't look like a craft fair. We stipulate to our exhibitors that they just cannot bring a trestle table and shove a cloth on it. So it has the look of an exhibition rather than a fair, which is what we hope. I know, Tom, you've been to it a couple of times, so you know what it looks like. Yeah, so why do I do it? I suppose it's my biggest exhibition of the year, but it's a lot of organisation, as I'm sure all of you know, because you're all probably organising things. So yeah, it's fun though.
Iona, I wonder if you can find the Craftsmen at the Priory website and we can look at some of the different art involved. What sort of photographer are you, Trisha? How would you describe yourself? Very
abstract. I would say that they're landscapes, but they don't look like landscapes, and they look like I've cheated on Photoshop when I actually haven't. So I fling my camera around like a sort of mad woman. And
I think the bottom right-hand corner of the screen we're looking at now is one of yours. Is that right?
It is the blue one. Yeah, the sort of blue next to the one with the hands on it. That's one of mine. That's actually that's Criffle from around Allenby somewhere at a sunset. So that's the kind of thing I do. But as you can see from the screen in front of you, we've got lots of different things and quite a few local artists. We have Carolyn Mar Ceramics on the bottom row, second from the left. Luca is the wood carving, bottom left. Now, he's actually from Sardinia, but we like to include him anyhow because he now lives in Northumberland. Yeah, lots of things you can see on there. I can't quite, on my screen, I can't quite see the top of it. We seem to have.
There's some beautiful light shades made
Yes,
by somebody. Who are those?
Katrina Orr, she's from Langham somewhere. It's part of the S Collective, I think they're called. Cyanotype, which is a process which uses sunlight and chemicals to make beautiful blue images. I could go into detail, but probably not here.
So are these professional artists?
Yes, yeah, they're all professional artists. I mean, not everybody relies entirely on their art for their income, but most people on here do. So yeah, some have had previous careers and have come to art later. On the top of this, on top of my screen anyway, you can see a little wooden chest of drawers, which is actually quite small. But we have this wonderful couple, part of the core group, Richard and Mary Kennedy, and Richard makes the most amazing wooden furniture. I don't know if you've got other pages of the website. I think if you go to the exhibitors page, I don't know if you can see that. And if you scroll down till you get to Richard Kennedy, there should be the most amazing wooden construction. I don't know how far down he is. Keep going if you can. That's Mary Kennedy. Go maybe a little bit further and you'll find Richard. Further. Sorry about this. There it is. That's one of Richard's contraptions, and that's probably about 4 or 5 feet tall, 3 feet wide, full of amazing drawers and little twiddly bits of woodwork. And there's usually a little hidden compartment, which is everybody has fun trying to find it. So that's the kind of thing he does. Very quirky, really kind of statement pieces, and people come to see his work alone because it's always so amazingly beautiful and intricate. And he's the most unassuming chap you can meet. He's just the sort of regular guy who just can't stop making, and he's getting on a bit now. I mean, he
looks a bit like Richard Dreyfuss.
If you say so, I'll tell him that.
And his pieces are always, for me, they're the sort of centerpiece of the exhibition. They're the most beautifully carved, and even if they're quite expensive, but they're not ridiculously expensive for what they are. Just standing and playing with the drawers and seeing the secret bits. It's one of those. It's like sort of walking into Chitty Chitty Bang Bang's workshop and seeing the creativity there. It's beautiful.
Yeah, I'll tell him that too. I think he'd probably quite like that analogy. Yeah, so that's sort of creative, the wow factor, which we have usually at the top of the stairs when people come up and they can see this amazing woodwork. And funny enough, it's usually blokes who go to the wood first, not trying to stereotype anything here, but last year we had a leather maker, and that blokes go to that. Steel, we have a blacksmith sometimes there working there, and that's really interesting for the blokes. The women tend to go straight for the jewellery, but that is definitely stereotyping.
Have you got any basket makers or hat makers this year?
We have a basket maker and a hat maker. Raffia hats. Everything's on the website. If anybody wants to look at the website after, www.cumbriacrafts, you can see.
We'll put it into chat. That's fine.
Okay. We have a hat maker, a basket maker. Oh, I'm scrolling on the website myself. We have somebody who does eco prints, which is really interesting. It's a way of using plants and things from your own garden, if you like. And we've done them at school a bit. You bash them onto fabric. Probably some of you have done that with a big hammer. Put the leaf on a piece of linen or cotton, bash it really hard with a hammer, and then eventually, after much clattering and everybody else complaining, you get this peel off the leaf, and you've got the print on the fabric, which is kind of a nice thing to do.
And if it's in its 48th year, Tricia, it must be successful.
Yeah, it is. I mean, we get good footfall, and we've got a reputation now. And we've got a massive mailing list, so that all goes out. And we get people coming back year after year. We have one lady who comes every year from Edinburgh, partly because she can park for free outside and do all her Christmas shopping in August. And she comes every year, and it'll be a sad year when she fails to turn up. But yeah, we've got quite a good following now because it has been there for so long. And I think people are used to seeing quality. They know they're going to get something nice. It's not just like the run of a mill, little thrown together, in a little craft fair. So yeah, we've got a good following, and hopefully.
All right, okay. Amy's just saying that someone on Sewing Bee was using that technique that you were describing with fabric on a recent episode. So that's nice to know. And Ian has put the website address into chat for people to check out some more. And what are the dates that it's open, and how long is it open for, Tricia?
We open on Wednesday the 5th of August, which is next Wednesday. And we actually open during the day, but we have a preview in the evening from 7 to 9. Anybody is welcome to that preview. It can get a bit hot and hot and sweaty in there, but it's quite a nice event, quite social. Wine is flowing. And then we're open for the month. Basically, we finish on Tuesday, the 1st of September. So we have 4 weeks every year, and it usually finishes just after the last bank holiday in August. So that's when that is.
Okay.
So
And
4
it is
weeks
beautiful. It's a beautiful building. Sue's played there, she says. The decor, it's a beautiful building. Even if you only have a cursory interest in what's inside it, it's a beautiful building to look around inside. It's a lovely location for an exhibition and for a selling exhibition. So good luck with that. And really nice to see this sort of variety of stuff on display. And I hope it's a success for you again this year.
Thanks very much for having me. And I'm afraid I've got to leave the meeting now because I have somewhere to go.
All right.
So, thanks very much.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Well, let's cross from Lanercost to Muncaster, which is where Josh is parked up in a fine flat-capped apparel on his head. I like that very much, Josh. Right, Josh, very nice to see you again. Last time I saw you in the flesh, I think you were playing a piano-shaped ship in Cockermouth Marketplace as part of Cockermouth Live about 3 or 4 weeks ago. But you have many strings to your bow, or many notes to your piano, and one of them is organising all sorts of things at Muncaster. So tell us about the Fringe at Muncaster, which I think, again, I'm not even sure if this is the first time it's happened. So tell us all about it, Josh.
Yeah, well, so last year there was a Fringe event. It was very much tied to the Crankenhouse Festival. So it was the Muncaster Fringe happening over that one weekend. This time we're doing the first time it's ever lasted any longer than a weekend. And for some reason, we've jumped from 3 days to a full month. And we're doing stuff all the way through. The first major event happens on the 5th, but there's stuff happening as of tomorrow. We're putting up a few exhibitions. So there's a website. It would be foolish of me to try and list the things that people can come along and enjoy in terms of the art and the theatre and the music and everything else. There's just a few key things that I wanted to put a call out for. Yeah, this video is actually the one of last year's Fringe. So you can see there's a lot of Crankenhouse activity going on there, which is our big festival of the year, which happens at the end of August. We're going to be making a big lead up to that, and there will be stuff happening over that weekend still, but it's much more spread out. So I have put a couple of links. I was a bit trigger happy and I pressed the wrong button, but I'll post them again here. The things I'm looking to really make people aware of today is the things that we're looking for people to come forwards to do as creatives. So we're looking for comedians to come forward. Anyone who has done stand-up or anyone who wants to try stand-up, it being a Fringe, we're looking for people to take a risk creatively. So whether you are a comedian or whether you know anyone who you think is pretty funny and could stand up and do it, there's a link there for people to just submit their like a 30 to 90 second little clip of themselves, and then we'll put together a little program down in Ravenglass Village at the Village Hall. And each slot will be paid. So there's some sort of prize money, if you will, available for people who come forward and get selected, which is pretty rewarding, I think. There's also an event for folk musicians and for pianists, and they are both happening on the same day. And I know that we have a couple of our pianists here on the call, don't we, Kate, already, who are going to be stepping up to take part. But basically, we're having a mass folk performance on the lawns at 3 p.m, where some original tunes, anyone who was at Cumberlandia and got to enjoy the Moss Troopers will have a flavour of what that might be like. But we're basically seizing on Tim's Moss Troopers and trying to amplify it by several orders of magnitude. So if we can get 100 musicians on the lawns playing all together, then that would be brilliant. I think with such short notice, we'll be
even ukulele players, Josh.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, literally any instrument is able to come along. Singers welcome, percussionists welcome. Any ability. If your child has a tambourine and they are really passionate about the tambourine, then please put them forwards for this. There's a link there. We're calling it the Muncaster Stramash, which is a new word for me, but I understand it's a Scot origin folk term for like a big racket or a big load of fun. And we've got two new tunes, original tunes rather, from Tim Elvin of the Moss Troopers that we're going to be playing all together. We've got two original tunes from Jimmy, who is an excellent guitar player, who is associated with the Brewery Arms, and he's going to be helping support. And then Carolyn Francis has come on as well, the excellent fiddle player. Very excited to have her on board.
That sounds amazing, and I love the ambition behind it as well.
Yeah. It certainly is ambitious, and that's why we're looking to bring people together, because these are really top quality musicians. But we're opening it up so that people feel like no matter where they are on that journey, they can get involved, because folk music is important, and that's an important part of it. And then
just go back to the piano bit, Josh, for me. So what's going on there?
So on the lawns, you've got the big folk stretch, and then literally an hour or so later, in the castle itself, will be the piano community concert. So again, anyone of any ability who has any kind of relationship with the piano can sign up and do Twinkle Twinkle Little Star if they like, or Chopin's preludes in their entirety, condensed into 7 minutes. It's entirely up to them. We've got really good sign up for that already, so it's going to be a great event. We've got a lovely Challen Baby Grand that people have the opportunity to play on in a castle with incredible acoustics. So I'm really looking forward to that. And those are all forms to be filled out: the comedians, the pianists, and the folk musicians that I've posted links to there, if people want to come and join in on that. We're working in conjunction with Florence Arts Centre to do a new visual commission. I don't actually have a link to that on hand, and I don't want to waste time Googling for it, but it's being advertised through the Florence Arts network. So if you're a visual artist, there's a fairly substantial amount of money there to go towards a new commission, and we're taking applications for that until the 9th. So there's about a week left to have a little read through the brief and put together your ideas for that. And we're going to be using the Muncaster Parish Church, which is, again, a lovely space, very similar to one of the Priory we saw earlier, albeit probably on a slightly smaller scale. But it certainly sounds like there's a lot going on in August in Cumbria in general. But if people can squeeze a weekend or a weekday to come down to Muncaster and enjoy some of the stuff, we've got loads going on. The brochure is hitting print tomorrow, I hope, but it's all on the website if people are curious.
It's a beautiful part, Ravenglass Estuary, and it's a beautiful part of Cumbria that, again, it's slightly quieter perhaps from mainstream tourism sometimes, which is to me a charm about it all. And you can just jump on the little train, go up to Eskdale, whatever. It's lovely. I think Iona's done some digging and has found the link that you were talking about there.
Well done, Iona. Yes, thank you. That's saved my bacon. We're really excited to see what comes out of that. I know there's been quite a few people come forward for it already, but there's definitely time to come into the mix before the 9th, when we're going to close the application.
Great stuff. All right, Josh, good luck with that. And I'm going to definitely try and get there myself, because it sounds glorious. And I haven't been to Muncaster for too long, and it's a beautiful place to just visit and hang out at as well.
Come down, Tom. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right, Josh. Nice to see you. Thank
you.
Thank you for that. Sounds great. Good luck with it. And again, congratulations on getting the funding from the Arts Council to help give it some rocket fuel as well. Right, let's go from Muncaster, not a million miles away, to Rosehill, which is, as we all know, just outside Whitehaven, on that hilltop looking out over the sea. And Hannah is there. Hannah Kessler is. What's your title there, Hannah? Have you got a title? I expect you probably have.
Creative producer.
Creative producer. All right. Tell us what's going on at Rosehill, and particularly the input into the Whitehaven Weekender, which is taking place next month as well.
Yeah. So we've got a ridiculous amount happening at the minute, which is why I've been so terrible at replying to your emails, because literally I've just been on my feet non-stop. It's been ridiculous. So just to give you a bit of background, we had a really, really disappointing experience in that we were supposed to be having an exhibition for the duration of July to August, and we planned the whole summer around this. And then with 2 weeks to spare, the people who were supposed to be delivering the exhibition decided that they no longer felt that we were a venue fit for their work. And we did everything we could, but unfortunately, the power was out of our hands. So we were now left with an empty building, no programme, and a whole lot of spare cash. So, well, not a whole lot, a small amount of spare cash. So we kind of got our heads together, and within the space of about 2 weeks, we devised a completely brand new exhibition and summer programme, which we called, for want of a better name, the People's Gallery, which I think is a pretty good name, actually. We put a public call out sort of everywhere we could, with a tight turnaround, much tighter than usual, but desperate times call for desperate measures. We had 2 weeks to get this all set up, but in that time we were able to install the work of 60 Cumbrian artists around the place. And there's people who are known to us, and there's people who are completely new that we'd never heard of. In fact, there's a couple on this call who have their work up, and it's amazing. We've got such a diverse range. We have sculpture, and we've got like a kind of, it's like a sculpture of a man like curled up like this, covered in like fragile stickers, and we've got beautiful paintings of the sea. We have collage, we have textile work. It is absolutely amazing, and it is a true celebration of local artistry. Then at the same time, what we've got going on upstairs, so the entire top floor is our art lab, and that's been kind of my baby, because it's been something I've been like really keen to do since I started my job, just kind of creating like a playground for art. So we went off to Ragtag in Kendal with our little baskets, and we just just swept everything off the shelves, and just kind of set the space up into this like invitational like playful space. I was very much inspired by the popular book Maisie Goes to the Museum, in which she says it's very nice to go to the museum because while you're there, you can make puppets, you can dress up in the dressing up room, you can eat cake, you can draw a picture, you can sing a song, and you can write a poem. And I was like, that sounds like the best day out like ever. So I created a space that encourages all of that. And the biggest sort of part of it that kind of took the most time was when we also trawled several charity shops. And I suddenly came across a doll's house that it was roughly the same height as me, and like, disclaimer, I'm not super tall, but like I still feel like that's quite a big doll's house. And I recognized this doll's house because I've seen them on Amazon for about 250 quid, and this had a sticker on that said 10 quid. And I looked at Jen, my boss, and I said, Jen, please can we have it, please? And she was like, yeah, but you're gonna have to repaint it. And I was like, I'll do anything. Please just get me that doll's house. And then I had to spend, I've not really got much experience doing that kind of thing, but I had to take the whole thing apart, sand it, repaint it, put it back together. It was an absolute nightmare doing that in the heat wave as well. Like, I was very lucky to be able to enlist the help of Sophie Bass, who is she's another local artist, and we had a lot of fun.
Is that a part of the exhibition then?
It's part of the children's workshop space, and what you can do is you can basically create your own miniature artwork and add it to the walls. So
sounds great. And can you tell us a bit about the Whitehaven Weekender, which is
I'll come to that in 2 minutes.
Okay.
So we are open for free from Wednesday to Saturday every week. So that's 10 till 3, and people are just welcome to drop in and take part. Now, at the end of August, on the 29th and 30th, we are doing Whitehaven Weekender, which is a 2-day festival that we're delivering in partnership with Need CIC, who are the team behind Pride by the Harbourside. We are kind of taking control of the Saturday, and they're sort of running the programme on the Sunday. And we have got some really, really exciting acts, both from kind of all over the country. Our kind of main headline act is called Code. It's a parkour piece put on by a kind of criminal justice, social justice collective about grooming of young people, children, into drug dealing gangs. So yeah, quite heavy stuff. Day 2, you've got the Venga Boys on the same stage. So, you know, you can't say that we're not diverse. It's yeah. Then we've also got some sparkly jellyfish coming up from Cornwall, who are going to be just dazzling everybody with their quad stilt walking. But as well as these kind of artists coming in from further afield, this year I am so excited that we have got such a high proportion of creatives from like right here. So we've got Anne Blanks and Hemans setting up some plein air stuff all along the promenade leading up to the beacon. We've got Nevermore Poetry doing some poetry scrolls and some performances. We have got Handpicked Productions doing a whole children's activity area. We've got Ragtag and their Crafty Caravan. We've got Eden Arts doing a fairy exhibition. We've got Florence Arts Centre running a clay take part activity. There's so much more as well. We've also been really, really excited to be supporting via the See It to Be It programme a completely new artist in developing a sort of visual walkabout, because in programming this festival, I discovered that there's a real gap for kind of Cumbrian or even Northwest based walkabout acts that are sort of purely visual and like, you know, visually astounding. You have got walkabouts, but they are mainly of the kind of street theatre comedy variety. And we really wanted to support someone like a young person to develop that new kind of, you know, really, really creative artwork style. And so we've got someone who is a trained ballet dancer, and she's creating this wonderful fairy costume, and she's going to be doing kind of ballet dance around the harbour. So that's kind of it.
It sounds great. And so is that the bank holiday weekend, Hannah?
Yeah, the 29th and the 30th of August. I have it on good authority that the weather will be nice.
Excellent. I'm sure it will. That sounds great. Okay, so so your hands are full. So the People's Gallery currently open at Rosehill, and one or two people putting in chat that they're part of it or have been to see it, and it's great. And I love the sound of the variety you've got there. And then the Whitehaven weekend is the next big outdoors thing, and that's the last weekend in August. All sorts of stuff going on. Jellyfish from the south, and lots of exciting Venga Boys on the Sunday. Did you say?
Yeah, Venga Boys. The Sunday has got an insane lineup. It's got like, so it's like Venga Boys and Sydney Christmas. So you know you've got your real like big global artists on that day, but day 1 is really a celebration of kind of grassroots creativity, arts and culture.
Great. Okay, lovely stuff. Thanks, Hannah. Thanks for coming on to tell us all about that.
And thanks for having me.
Links in the chat from the ever effervescent Iona, putting those links to what people are talking about in chat. Right, Michael, hello, nice to have you with us. Michael Barry there from Cumberland Council. We're going to hear from Michael shortly. But first of all, I just thought, Kate, you just might want to mention the big meet, the next big meet, which is coming up in September, which the lineup is building all the time for who is appearing and why people should come along to discuss the state of play of culture in Cumbria at the moment, and why now it's a particularly important moment to have that conversation.
Well, exactly. What Hannah was just saying is a really good example of the impact that culture makes in Cumbria, and our big meet on the 23rd of September is all about that. It's all about us as a sector getting ready to be able to articulate the impact, the contribution we make to Cumbria, in particular as we approach devolution and the election of a mayor and the start, if you like, of the Cumbria Combined Authority that it exists, but with the mayor in place from May next year. So that's what the subject of the day is. It's about the power of culture in Cumbria's future. We have got a really good lineup already. But don't forget that the big meets are really just, most of all, a chance to get together and talk to each other in person. The timings for the day are 9 o'clock to 3:30. So it's just kind of a longer session than normal because this is a big subject. It's going to be at Sunbeams Music Centre, which, if you've never been, is a place worth visiting in its own right. And the speakers so far are Trevor McFarlane, who is the director of Culture Commons, which is an organisation that has successfully lobbied for culture to be included as a core competency in the English devolution bill. I know that sounds rather dry, but he is a brilliant speaker and a brilliant young man who has achieved an enormous amount, and he's going to sort of set the scene around culture and devolution, what's going on nationally, so that we understand the sort of picture that we're joining in Cumbria. Also, Helen Phoebe, who is the head of culture for the West Yorkshire Combined Authority, who also leads the Great North Creative, which is a coming together of all the culture leads across the North. She has loads of experience of how culture works in a combined authority, so she's going to be able to talk to us about the reality of that. There is also underway at the moment an impact study for culture that's being led by a consortium of organisations with Theatre by the Lake at the helm. You may or may not, I hope you have, completed the survey that is all about gathering data to be able to articulate in really clear terms the difference that culture makes. So we're going to be hearing the headlines from that study at the big meet as well. We will also hear from Tom Andrew, who is the Director of Policy and Strategy for the new Cumbria Combined Authority. All really good people, really good speakers, and it's going to be a fascinating and instructive day. I think it's really important that people come along and be part of the conversation. So I'm about to put the link in chat so that you can book. We are charging for it this time. If you work for an organisation, it's £24. If you're a freelance creative, it's £12. If we don't
You get a nice lunch though in return, don't you?
You do indeed, as well as all that smorgasbord of speakers. You get a lunch and refreshments all day. But if the £12 is problematic, all you have to do is drop us a line and we will help with that. So don't let the cost be a barrier ever.
And places are limited, aren't they? I think it's 75 places altogether. So
yeah,
I think those will shift.
Yeah, they will.
Can I also just say thanks to trybooking.com for sponsoring the big meet. They're our new partners. They sponsor the newsletter every week. And they're also sponsoring. I see Louise is there from Try Booking this morning. So thanks very much to them for their support. I'd also say we're aiming to pull together a short film to debut at this conference to paint a picture of the cultural life of Cumbria at the moment. So if you are involved, if you have any lovely stills or even a little bit of moving footage, it doesn't have to be Hollywood style. It can just be rough and ready. If you have any images or a little bit of moving footage of your bit of creativity in action, please send it to Iona at hello@cacn.co.uk. That's hello@cacn.co.uk. And we're just going to pull all that stuff together. We'll get a filmmaker to edit it beautifully, and we'll use that at that conference. And we'll also have it in our back pocket to use very usefully for about the next 12 months to help make the case on your behalf of why the cultural life of Cumbria really, really matters, and also its diversity too. So just if you've got something that you've got in your back pocket, shove it our way and we'll pull it together and make something beautiful out of it. Thank you, Kate. Looking forward to that. I shall be hosting that one. And Sunbeams is a beautiful, beautiful space in which to feel inspired as well. If you've not been there, it's a real treat. Right, well, let's go from the big meet to someone with a big job, and that's Michael Barry, who works at Cumberland. What's your title there, Michael?
Oh, thanks. I'm Assistant Director for Thriving Places at Cumberland. So listen, firstly, thanks for having me, Tom.
Okay.
Really appreciate it too.
All right. So Michael is going to talk to us a little bit about what's going on as far as the Tour de France is concerned and plans for that, which, as I said, it's taking place next year, comes from Glasgow to Carlisle and then kicks off in Keswick and goes all the way down to Liverpool. Good luck to the cyclists there. And also what's been going on at the Sands, which, as you'll know, is a major space in Carlisle. It's been shut for some time because of problems with the rack concrete in the ceiling in particular. And so what's going on with the Sands, which is quite recently reopened. Which one do you want to do first, Michael?
I'll do the Sands first.
Okay. So what's the story behind the Sands?
Yeah, well, firstly, thanks for having me. And I must say, I really enjoyed, I came late, but I really enjoyed Hannah's update, and that session that Kate mentioned sounds fascinating. And I'll try and ensure there's a member of the team along as well, Kate, for that. So for John Sands Centre, and I must apologise, I'm a bit hoarse today. Don't know what's happened to me, but of course, the Sands Centre is one of Cumbria's most significant cultural assets, and it's historically been attracting visitors from across the region. Following a very sudden change in government guidance in 2023, we were forced to effectively require the building to be shut to allow 200 tonnes of rack concrete to be removed and replaced. That was quite a big undertaking, and of course it led to a prolonged closure. However, the auditorium is now reopened and it benefits from new customer seating, new theatre and auditorium lighting, a refurbished backstage and back-of-house facilities, better ventilation, improved safety infrastructure, and indeed better roof access to support crews and wider maintenance. So the building is now, the venue is now reopened, and I think we're really pleased that it's a better venue than when it closed. I think it's important, the Sands Centre, and I think the scale of the building is very important too. It's got a capacity of about 1,800 people for live events. And together with the kind of wider leisure offering and indeed its location in the centre of the city, it is a really key asset for the region. And I think it's the venue where we can host large touring shows, but also local theatre companies use it heavily, as you probably be aware. So it's great to have that back in action, and we're looking for it now to be that platform to attract new touring operations, to support the cultural sector, but also to make sure that its role in our region and in our city centre is strong as ever again. Already we're seeing a strong response. We've had thousands of visitors through the door, and we're working closely with GLL who operate the site to ensure that we're monitoring how things are going in terms of that reopening, and indeed keeping an eye out for any further enhancements that are made. But so far so good. On the tour, if you want me to jump onto that, Tom.
Yeah.
So this is a really big one for the region. Back in January, you might recall, it was announced that Britain would host the first 3 stages of the men's Tour de France and the women's Tour de France, I should add, with the men's race running from Edinburgh to Carlisle, and then from Keswick down to Liverpool. It's a big deal, this one, though. It's one of the biggest sporting events of the world. It's one of those kind of iconic events. What you'll find is got TV coverage in 190 countries, billions of people watch it annually, and it's actually said to be one of the largest sporting events in the world. I think it's the largest annual sporting event in the world. So it's a big deal, and it's not just about bicycle racing. And have you ever watched the Tour de France or other Grand Tours? It's also a real opportunity to describe your place, to talk about place, to showcase your place and the communities it passes through. So we're really excited about this for a number of reasons. We're doing a lot of work around the moment on economic impact, but as a benchmark, 2014 Tour of Britain in Yorkshire, Tour de France in Yorkshire, was said to have created about £131 million of economic benefit. We need to do our own numbers, but what it shows is that the scale of this event can be really significant. And of course, cycling does give that spectacle and I guess that platform. But we also see the events being quite important in engaging our communities, supporting businesses, and help our residents really enjoy and be proud of where they're from. The cultural sectors have got a really key role in this. And I think what we really want to do is ensure that that opportunity can be maximised. And I think what we really encourage cultural partners and businesses to think about is how they can, at one level, make the most of the opportunity that we'll have, and indeed the millions of extra visitors that hopefully will come to our, or the millions of extra viewers to our region, and indeed the large number of extra visitors we'll see as well. And we've seen across Europe, and we've looked at other examples, that the Grand Depart is a real opportunity to deliver energy and atmosphere to an area. So while the event finishes, stage 1 finishes in Carlisle, and Tom, I was shocked to hear they consider that a flat stage. So I don't know what planet cycling from Edinburgh to Carlisle is flat, but there you go. But it's anticipated.
Do they just get and then they get the bus from Carlisle to Keswick, do they, overnight or something?
They'll bus out from Carlisle to their various accommodation, and then the next morning they'll reconvene in Keswick. So what you'll see is effectively kind of the creation of an event village, if you will. So you'll find there'll be significant amounts of infrastructure about broadcast around teams, and indeed you'll have pretty significant spectator facilities as part of that as well. We're a year to go on that, and there's a lot of real planning going on to make sure that we're getting those physical logistics clear, so we understand what's required and how we deliver it, working with Grand Depart GP, who's the company delivering the event in Britain. And we're also, and at the moment, we're working hard on infrastructure, but there's also work stepping up now around the social value side of the event as well. And that's a program called Joy. So it's coordinated nationally, with local authority partners have a key role in trying to make sure it's executed and implemented locally. And I think you're going to see over the coming months more and more from that program starting to come through.
Do you think there's an opportunity for people from the cultural sector to get involved in that as well?
Potentially, yeah. What we're trying to do is there is a cultural arm to this, and we are working hard now to try and ensure that that's clearly defined and that opportunities are maximised. You might have seen, for example, a small example of this, but it's still significant. We've got the Women's Tour Britain coming to West Cumbria in August this year. And we recently launched a grants program to try and support local communities, our partnerships to get involved, be it around participation or animation. So we will be looking really hard about how we can support access to the opportunity. And I guess too, what we'd say is that we'd also encourage cultural businesses and cultural partners to think about the opportunity in itself, given the scale of event that's coming, and indeed the amount of people, the amount of attention that will be on the region. So there's a lot of work going on at the moment around coordinating that. We're working hard as a council, but we're also engaging closely with Westmoreland, Furness and the combined authority. So there's a bit of a joined up thought process being developed on this. And as I said to you, we need to develop these proposals a bit further. We're still working closely with government and the government's delivery vehicle, but over the next few months, more and more will be coming forward about how that can look and feel, and those opportunities to engage. On that too, I'd probably point you to 2 key websites. Cumberland Council have now set up a Tour de France website. I can send a link after this, just so you can see what's going on, our various news updates. And Grand Depart GB, I should say, who, as I said, are looking after the overall event for the UK. They also have a website, and that includes quite a lot of information around the social value program, the Joy program, which, as I said, is starting to roll forward. So I think overall, the Sand Centre is really good news for Carlisle. I think we're seeing a good response. GLL are reporting positive uptake. We're seeing the calendar fill up with shows, and it's a better facility at the back of this. And likewise, Tour de France, we're really seeing it as a huge opportunity for our places and economy, and that chance to tell a really strong story, and hopefully see benefit to local businesses and communities.
Exciting times. Just going back to the Sands, there's a bit of noise on social media about the acoustics, and Jenny asks, have the acoustics been improved at the Sands Centre?
So when we delivered the project, we took the advice. We obviously had an acoustic specialist look at the project, the site, to ensure that what was being replaced was effective and fit for purpose, and we've implemented the recommendations there. We'll keep an eye on things, see how it goes, but we haven't had any real issues flagged to us around the quality of sound or acoustics in the new venue. But I said to you, we'll keep an eye on things and see how it goes. But so far, so good. And I said to you, the feedback's been pretty positive, and GLL certainly aren't reporting any issues, and they've put on numerous shows since the reopening now.
Okay. And are you, when going back to the tour, Michael, when something like this comes along, and I'm sure you were involved in conversations long before it was announced it was coming to Cumbria, is that the last thing you need, frankly, or actually is it a massive opportunity?
It's one of those really exciting moments, actually. Far from that. I think it's actually one of those things that lets us really kind of talk about our place with a real degree of pride and put us on a global map. So no, it's fantastic. And I think, you know, my job picks up a lot of areas, but economy is part of it and culture as well, of course. And this is kind of we like to see this as kind of a strategic scale opportunity that can transcend all aspects of the economy. And but we know we can't do it all ourselves. So we are hoping that businesses and cultural businesses as well see the opportunity and think about how they can get involved. We can't do everything. I say we want to really work in partnership with all aspects of our community.
Yeah, I was at the Cumbria Tourism Awards actually a few weeks ago, down in Kendal. I was hosting them actually, and certainly Cumbria Tourism is very, very excited about the opportunities that the tour is presenting. I suppose, you know, from a cultural perspective, we just need to make sure it can be beneficial in lots of different aspects of life, and not just to hoteliers and bed and breakfast owners. Kate's got her hand up very politely to ask a question.
Yeah, I think, of course, it's a massive opportunity, and I'm sure there are loads of people chomping at the bit to want to be able to help and contribute. So I'd just like to say that we are here to spread the word and channel the messages out to those people. So we would very much like to obviously stay in touch and be kept informed and be part of the conversation if we can, so that I know this is did you ever watch that program called 2012 about the London Olympics? A lot of talk about legacy and sustainability, and the two people, the person in charge of legacy always fell out with the person in charge of sustainability. But you know, I'm sure there is a big legacy to this, and I hope that we can help make that real. So please do keep in touch with us.
Okay, Kate, 100%, and I know, and I feel this network will be very important. I think, as I said to you, we're beginning to get the social value aspects of this are beginning to come to the fore quite strongly, and I think what we can probably do probably from September, look to communicate again about how that's shaping up. And as I said to you, I would encourage members of this network to think about opportunities as they see them as well, because ultimately we need that. It's a very expansive event geographically, so you know there's opportunities along that route as well, but also further afield. And already we've been promoting the volunteering program quite hard. We've had a really good response in Cumbria, and that's obviously centrally coordinated, but we're really trying to champion it. There's also the program around employability and skills, so we're promoting that. And as these programs come online, we'll certainly want to make sure that the key partners are involved. And you probably saw, as I said to you, we got together quite quickly a program around Women's Tour Britain, which is
starting and finishing in Cockermouth, isn't it?
Starting and finishing in Cockermouth, but wrapping in Cockermouth down through Frizzington to Whitehaven, along the coast then to Workington, Flimby, Maryport, Sillet, over to Wigton, a bit of climbing around Callbeck, back to Spatria, and then there's a loop which gets a few more climbs in through Cockermouth before a finish there. So a really comprehensive route, and hopefully for all of those communities, they'll get a really good experience on the day, because this is the world's best women riders coming to the region this year.
Yeah. Okay. Monique's suggesting there it's the largest free sporting event in the world, which is quite a thing to be. I once saw I was in a village in France and saw the tour go through. This is about 20 years ago, and it is quite a moment. I mean, it was just whizzing through, but all the fanfare beforehand and all the fanfare afterwards. I can imagine for an actual start place like like Keswick, or a finish place like Carlisle, it will be quite a big buzz going on, and no doubt each town will be painted as yellow as the other one can possibly be, with yellow bicycles everywhere. Or there's one, like, what's the red dots on a white shirt? That means something. Is that King of the Mountains or something?
I think that's climbing, yeah.
Climbing, yeah.
So and what'll be fun is, because Carlisle's got the first stage finished, the first presentation of all those jerseys will take place in Carlisle, which again is really good. Again, we'll create a bit of profile, because I think what we want to do is let the world see, wow, look at Cumbria, isn't it amazing? It's hosting this event, and oh my goodness, it's very nice, and look how well, look at how yellow everything is. So we are trying to really, we want this to leave a positive experience for communities, but also indeed a positive impression on further in the area as well.
Yeah, great stuff. Dan's asking, is the Tour de France coming through Callbeck? Did I hear that correct, or have I misunderstood? I think it's the Women's Tour of Britain going through Callbeck, isn't it, Michael?
Women's Tour of Britain going through Callbeck on the 19th of August.
Yeah, so that's in about 2 or 3 weeks' time. Dan and Helen. It came past the end of my street when in Yorkshire. Lots of fuss, then over in seconds. Great fun though. Yeah, it's amazing how fast. If you've been watching any of the coverage, it's just finished, of course, this year. It's just extraordinary how fast they cycle. Can I just say, sorry, Michael? Yeah.
Sorry, and I would add too that the race itself is pretty quick, but there's quite a large caravan, as they call it, before the race as well. So there's quite a bit going on around the event, and so hopefully residents will enjoy the experience of it all, because it's definitely a uniquely French experience, I think, coming to our area, which is great.
Yeah. Iona, you've been on fire this morning. There's links coming out of her ears of all sorts of things, and she's put a great one in there. Some of the opportunities so far around the Tour de France here, some particularly good ones for young people. So those are on latourgb.com website addresses. Lovely stuff. Thank you, Michael. Michael, can you stay there for a second? Thanks to everybody for joining this call this morning. It's been an absolute pleasure to see you all again. So we had a lovely session from Tricia talking about the Lanercost artisans. And we've had Josh talking about the Muncaster Fringe, lots of opportunities there for people quite soon. Hannah, thank you for your thoughts and reflections on the People's Gallery at Rosehill and also the Whitehaven weekend coming up in August. And then Michael there on the Tour de France and what's going on with the sands, and fingers crossed that remains in a good place. So thank you very much, everybody. And as I said, we're going to take a break for the next 4 weeks, and we're back on September the 4th, which is a Friday. All sorts of things being lined up for then. Don't forget, if you've got images or a little bit of film for our film that we're going to show at the Big Meet in September, please fire them our way. And thanks once again to Try Booking for sponsoring the Big Meet as well. I think we're there. Upfront Museum opens on the 4th of August. I'm just flying through this. Thanks, everybody. Thanks so much. I thoroughly enjoyed my first CACN session, says Dan. Dan, we loved having you there. And I look forward to chatting to you next week about your great idea as well. Have a good August, everybody, and catch you again pretty soon.